Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Chris Moe with Horizon M&A Advisors, and I'm going to do something pretty simple today, and that's I'm going to go to my our website because we just put a post out on how to value an HVAC business. And even if you don't have an HVAC business, and maybe you have a roofing business, it's going to be pretty darn close. And let's just go through that. And I think you'll start seeing what I'm talking about. So, again, this is on our website. This happens to be the blog that we put out this month, and I wanted to share it. So, let's get right into it. I'm sure you look like this when you're in your office. Um, so, let's get right into smaller businesses. I'll just give you the big picture. I'm gonna give you a good idea of what the valuations are, and then I'm gonna start giving you the some of the things that you can do to add value to your business. And I'm gonna try to keep this to 10 minutes or shorter. So the little guys out there with two trucks, you're gonna be on the lower side. The less money you have in SDE, when you have a small business, we don't even talk EBITDA. We're just talking SDE. SDE is seller's discretionary earnings. And that's just saying, hey, what's your profit? What do you pay yourself? And most likely it's going to be maybe one of your employees buying your business. Maybe it's going to be maybe another HVAC company that, hey, we want to get into your territory. We know you guys got a good reputation, and we kind of want to buy your crew and your equipment. So that's what SDE would be. It's going to be most likely under a half a million SDE. Let's say you're doing 500,000. You pay yourself 150,000, and after all the expenses, you're making another 350. That would mean your business is going to be really close to being 2 to 3.5 times that number, gets you 1 to 1.75. That's not a bad amount of money. Can you retire and have an incredible life? Probably not, unless you move to another state. But that's maybe the reason why you might want to acquire another company. Or I have to say, you might have to start growing your business, which is not easy to do. I understand that. So, if you are able to do it, what happens though is these multipliers start growing. Okay. And you start getting into the EBITDA. What EBITDA means is just really is it's going to be your SDE minus what a buyer would have to pay at fair market value, someone to take your place, a manager, a general manager, your key guy. So let's just call that number 150,000. Okay, so when I get to bigger businesses, that number can get to even 500,000 and sometimes even higher, but let's just keep it simple for now. So as you start getting bigger, we're going to start getting up to 3 to 5x SDE. I'm going to say, let's just take it up pretty quickly because now we're starting to kind of get to EBITDA level, which in my mind is 750,000 K, 750,000 or more is when you start getting EBITDA. EBITDA is the language of professional buyers, of private equity companies. So as you can see, as you start climbing up this profit or EBITDA number, we start getting up to 2 million, 3 million. Now you got 40 guys, you got 50 guys, you got a huge operation. This is what these big guys want. They want to buy an operation. They just don't want to buy Chuck and his truck and his buddy. That's great, but that's going to be hard because they don't want to be in the business. So let's get right into kind of what differentiates these. So a small owner operated HVAC shops where everybody starts, um, each one of these is going to have a value. I mean, you're going to be somewhere on the low end or the high end, and it starts with having good financials. I mean, have good books. That's something that is going to be paramount in selling a business is verifiable books that is not going to be taking somebody in the weeds and taking 3 months to figure out. Ideally, it's in QuickBooks, and ideally, when someone asks you for a report for the last 3 years of your profit and loss, you can come up with that in short time. Um, another part of this valuation is you're not doing every little thing. And if you are, you're not really ready to sell your business. You're going to have to start training up your number two. You're going to have to bring in a sales guy, whatever. You're going to have to start making yourself redundant in the business. A stronger, HVAC company is you're going to have more depth. You're going to have, if somebody leaves, it's not going to devastate the operation. You're going to have a diversification of customers, and this brings up, are we talking residential? Or are we talking commercial? Or are we talking a hybrid of the two? Because it's a different breed of cat when we're getting into commercial, because commercial's fewer projects, but it's also, it's going to keep your guys working for, who knows, a week, 2 months, 3 months. On a big project, you get big chunks of money, versus residential, we know, is probably a lot of $1,500 jobs, and but you have lots of them, and ideally it's not tied in so much with the economy. And that's, but we won't get too into detail on that. Let's just assume we're talking mostly residential here, okay? Now we're starting to get to the bigger guy. When you start getting into EBITDAs of 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, you're talking a serious you got a CFO in the company, you have, you know, at least 50 guys, if not 100 guys working in the company. And these, if you have one of those now, it won't be very hard to sell your business. If you do, please reach out because we can talk about it, because I have plenty of buyers for those kind of businesses. And that would, by the way, also include commercial. Don't feel left out there. And then the large ones we're not going to get into right now, because I'm assuming you're going to be somewhere under, say, 5 million EBITDA. Now, here's what they're paying for. They want to know that you've been doing this consistently. I mean, hopefully this company is 10 plus years old. Ideally, you've come up with some model where you're getting your service, your guys are going out there and getting annual, maintenance, like I pay with my provider. I actually happen to work with Jazz in the East Bay here in Northern California, and that's owned by a private equity company. It's owned by Apex. I'm sorry, Alpine Investors, who have Apex Services. That's their residential side. And when I get residential companies that are good businesses, I might even talk to them about buying the company. But they ideally, you're going to have 500 plus accounts that are paying 100, 200, $300 a year, like mine, where they come in and check before the summer and they check before the winter for, the heating and the cooling, which is nice. I have to say, it's a great chance for upselling. I don't need to tell you guys that, but that's where it's at. And let's face it, in this business, you want a customer for life. And if you guys are doing a good job, why would anybody leave? They're not going to leave to save, $50. They definitely start getting accustomed to having the same company come in, because they've built up a trust. I have the same relationship with my electrical, which happens to be Divine here in Marin County. And they do plumbing and electrical, and they have maintenance contracts as well. I think customers love it. I think it's way worth it. So there you go. Management depth is the next one. Customer diversification. No one wants to think. if 80% of your business is with one general contractor, you're in trouble. There's too much at risk for a buyer. They're not going to want that. Um, Residential is completely different, obviously. I mean, I can't imagine in more than, I mean, you'd have a client that's more than 20% of your business. Earnings quality, and then transferable future cash flow. Uh, what's transferable? Hopefully, you got a great reputation. You get plenty of people calling in because you've been doing it a long time. You do it well. Um, you're on next door, whatever, you've got it down to a science. That's what buyers are looking for. And you're also working with the latest technology. You're working with Service Pro or whatever. Your customers know when your technician's going to show up. I love that as a consumer. I'm assuming you guys all have that. If not, well, then look into it. Um, So this is just another pretty graphic just showing, what these various things look like. We've already gone through that. Earnings quality, recurring revenue. So this is all on our website. Feel free to go to the website. We constantly are putting up things that we hope will be interesting to business owners. Um, HVAC is hot right now. I'm sure you guys are all getting hit up on by, there's Apex Service Partners right there in our article. These guys are prolific at buying companies. If you just want to sell your company by yourself, just reach out to Apex Service Partners. But a little word to the wise here. It's really better it's good idea to have a few buyers at the table. Um, Ideally, you're going to get them competing against each other. That is the optimum. But I do know that Apex and these guys, for the most part, do a good job they're going to pay fair market value because they know it's competitive out there. So you guys just happen to be in one of those really competitive trades. Congrats on that. Probably not too far behind you is going to be roofing companies. And frankly, I focus on all these kind of companies, residential and commercial. And if you've been doing this for 15 or 20 years, God love you because you've earned, um, you know, getting out and having a nice life after this. So um, reach out if you have any questions. I'm happy to get on a call. We'll keep it confidential. Uh, I'm happy to be an advisor and walk you through what you can do to add value to your company. I try to cover a few of them here, but if you really want more information, just look at some more of my YouTube videos. Thanks again for watching.